World War III, it's not hyperbole, and it's unfortunate, but that's, I think, how most of the countries actually taking it. When Donald Trump in the debate starts talking about foreign policy, talks about dragging us into World War III, he's not wrong. He just is an awful communicator. Awful communicator. That point that he made in the debate was so important, and it was so true, yet again, lost in the sauce. Again, and I'm going to blame it on him, his inability to get that point across. Again, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, I wasn't around for the Cuban Missile Crisis. But again, I tell my kids about how in elementary school we would have bomb drills, or we'd hide underneath our desk. And I remember how stupid I thought they were, even at the time, saying, I knew what a nuclear weapon was capable of, and what hiding underneath the desk is going to, save me. And, we had the movies back in the time we had was Red Dawn, where the Russians and the Chinese and the Cubans invade. And then there was the, back when there was only like 3 networks, wasn't much on TV back then. They had the Day After Tomorrow. It was a big television event, supposed to scare the pants off of everyone. Anyway, what I am witnessing, what I'm watching right now, again, this is not hyperbole. I cannot recall a time in my life, and I've been trying all day today, where we've been this close to really going at it with Russia. Back then it was the Soviet Union. We are flirting right now with allowing Ukraine to use Western precision-guided missiles into Russia, long-range strikes into Russia. There was a lengthy interview with Vladimir Putin that, again, I suggest you go and watch. Translated it. And, basically explaining that these missiles don't work unless they're using European and American satellites. They're not going to work. Ukraine doesn't have the capabilities of using these missiles. So what he's saying is, if they use these missiles and strike deep into Russia, that would elevate the conflict with a direct conflict with NATO. Let's just leave it at that. A direct conflict with NATO. This will mean, I'm quoting Putin, this will mean that NATO countries, the United States and European countries are fighting against Russia. That what you want? Is that what you want? You think that this is a good idea? Here's another story. Again, none of this in the mainstream media. I can't recall. I remember Bush being rebuked by some leaders over in Europe, but not to this degree. A Secretary of State of the United States, the Polish minister to the European Parliament, and I quote, Blinken, go home as soon as possible. Get lost. We don't want you here. We don't want Polish people paying and dying for your wars. Blinken does not speak for us, nor will we vote for this endless war. This is what's taking place right now. No, it's not hyperbolic by any stretch of the imagination. Things can escalate. Again, you need to be a bit of a student of history. And, why don't I bring it up? It was a book I recently read. I enjoy Victor Davis Hanson's work. I do. And he did a recent book. It was basically on the absolute, the annihilation of civilizations. And you read it and you can kind of see, you see how things can escalate very quickly. And you don't want to play around with that by any stretch of the imagination. No, we should not be allowing Western weapons to be having long-range strikes into Russia. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.